everybody, welcome to Shark Scrapper Live, where every week we talk about things going on in the precious metals market, industrial metals market. We have a safety tip, and we just take a look at what's going on in our industry in general. It is great to be with everybody today. I'm really looking forward to having a lot of fun during today's live stream. So let us do a quick check. Let's see who all is with us as we get started. We've got Sixth Street Garage, J.R. Cat, Richard Holbert, Andy Pastadeur, J.R. Did I say J.R.? I said J.R. Cat already. Yeah, what can I, Mike's Meltdown and Roger at CU Scrapping. Great to have everybody here as we get the show rolling. I know we'll have plenty of other folks join us as we move into this. All righty then, let us get right into our discussion of precious metals. We're starting with silver. All righty, and look at that, 48.24 US dollars an ounce. This is the APMEX website. Now I have to make this disclaimer for everybody. I am not sponsored by APMEX. I get no remuneration from APMEX. They are just a company that I have used to buy and trade my physical gold and silver. And I do believe that everyone should have physical gold and silver in their portfolio. And what we are experiencing right now is a great example of why that is so important. You have an opportunity to make some money on your silver, assuming you had purchased silver over time in the past and built up a little bit of what they call, a lot of people call it a stack of silver. So here we are, we're at the 1 week timeline, and you can see we had some interesting goings on here. We had, you know what? Let me see. Wait a minute. I don't have my pen going. It's hard to track everything when the pen is not set up right. So hang on just a second here. We're going to get the pen set up. Do that and do that. Got to push a few buttons here. Yeah, that's me. I love to push people's buttons. Oh, man. All right, now we're doing what we need to do. And so we can see that we had sort of these plateau activities going on here during the week. We would climb up to a plateau. We'd bounce around a certain level for a while, drop, recover, bounce around for a little while, drop, and recover to where we are now. And, that's fine. That's to be expected, because when the values climb up, then the investors start evaluating what's going on in the big picture of things. And so you see, investors buying and selling here, trying to decide what's going to happen. There'll be a little bit of a correction, and then it climbs back up again as something causes investors to say, nope, got to go get some more. So this is not an uncommon kind of pattern to see. Overall, we're up 3.5%. And this is the 1 week chart. So remember, last week we talked about both gold and silver, and we're up 3.5%. So we had talked about silver going up last week. So that is really nice. It's great to see this going on. Let's just jump right over here to the 1 year, and we're up 52.18% for the year. We can see we started the year there. We're up here. What's interesting is that for most of the year, we were below the straight line trend. Just connecting where we were a year ago to where we are now, our prices were all below. So that's kind of an interesting bowl shape of how the prices climbed, rather than they jumped way up and started falling again. So we're up here in the sell range. This is definitely inside my sell range. And so I need to decide if I'm going to do any selling here as this week plays out. Let's go over to trading economics. We get a little more detailed discussion when we jump over to the trading economics site. Silver slipped below 47 per ounce on Friday, but remained on track for the seventh consecutive weekly gain, supported by expectations of further U.S. rate cuts. Okay. And uncertainty on the federal government shutdown. Of course, now we know we've got the federal shutdown. And so, yes, that is playing into this as well. So lower interest rates means that investors aren't going to be losing a lot of interest when they buy precious metals like gold and silver that don't collect any interest. But it makes it more, it makes precious metals a more interesting thing to hold because their investors don't have to worry about giving up much in the way of interest. And gold and silver, for the most part, don't have much carrying cost. Now, large investors who have large quantities of gold and silver may be paying for security and things like that. For us, it's probably not that big a deal. I would recommend that you keep your gold and silver locked up in a safe somewhere, not just laying around on your shelves and cabinets. I mean, unless it's just a few ounces here and there. But for most of us, we don't have huge carrying costs to just hang on to gold and silver. So it's a good place for investors to go into. Now, add to that all of the uncertainty that is going on in our world right now. We've got tariffs and the potential for new tariffs here in the United States. We've got the U.S. government shutdown. We've got wars, Ukraine, Gaza going on. We don't, the Gaza thing. Will there be a peace plan? Will there not be a peace plan? You've got Ukraine that who knows how long that war is going to continue. Those kind of uncertainties on the global stage, plus what's going on in the U.S. government right now, just make investors very nervous. When investors get nervous, they go to safe havens such as gold and silver. It's what we see normally happen. So all of this makes perfectly good sense. And this is, I hate to say it, but it's good for us in the scrapping world because it means that the things that we are dealing with mostly are gold bearing material, but a lot of our gold bearing material also yields silver. Plus, some of our scrap just has silver in it, like the silver contacts that we find in relays and such. Uh, and that makes those items more valuable. So we can do better in our scrapping world when we see gold and silver continuing to rise like this. Yes, there is the unfortunate side of that, meaning it's because of a lot of bad things going on in the world right now. But hey, yeah, I got to take advantage of it because this is the market that we're in. All right, then let's go over and see what kind of comments have come up about silver while we've been here, and we'll see who else has joined us. Let's see. Sister G is in the house. Sister G, welcome. Great to have you here. Scrapping Irish, great to have you on board. Kerosene cucumbers. Kerosene cucumbers. What an interesting name. I would love to hear how you came up with that name. And maybe I'm saying it wrong. Maybe I'm saying it some way other than you intended. But what an interesting channel name. Electronic Scrappers in the house. Great to have you all here. E-Waste Mike is with us. And Mike, you'll be happy to know that you were again an inspiration for me this week. So you'll see what I mean in a little bit. Richard Hulbert is joining us. Says, my stocks in my portfolio, my silver and gold are on the shelf in the workshop, growing nicely. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, as you all know, I like to invest in the stock market as well. I think a balanced portfolio of stocks, bonds, gold, and silver is a great way to uh, move forward in your investment strategies. J.R. Cat says his metals are his slush fund. Yep. And I'm sure that these prices have to create some, yeah, some, like, oh man, should I be selling off some stuff? And, we'll talk about that here in a minute. I am sorry, but there is no way I'm going to be able to say this name correctly. And so I'm not even going to risk insulting you by saying it terribly. But welcome from Poland. It's great to have you here. Um, yeah. Oh man. Ed Weber's in the house. Ed, welcome. Great to have you here. Paul Fisher's in the house. Always great to have you here. Oh, borrowed it from an episode of the Andy Griffith Show. Very cool. Now I gotta try to remember what the episode. I'll have to go look that one back. I used to watch that when I was a kid, but it was a fun show back in the day. So, Paul, I would be very, very careful right now buying gold. Whether I don't care who you buy it from, the margins are what you need to watch out for. And here, I'll show you why this is. I'll show you why this is so important. Here, let's go right over to it right now. So let's bring up the trading economics chart again. Let's go look at the forecast for silver. And you can see that what we've got going on for silver is we're going to have a very reasonable increase in the value of silver. And they're forecasting that it will get over $50, get up to around $52.20 in the next 12 months. So here's the thing: what you have to decide is, can you purchase, whether it's gold or silver, can you purchase it at today's price with the premiums that the people who are selling it are going to charge you? Because the premiums are basically, that's just money that they tack on. That's how the seller makes their money usually. And that premium is, if you take the cost of what you're paying plus the premium, you need to be able to sell it for that combined value at some point in the future just to break even. If you want to make any money on it, you need to be able to get more than that. So you really have to think through a couple of things here. One, if it's a near-term investment, are you going to be able to recover that premium in the course of, say, the next year? Now, for some people, it's not about the near-term investment. It's about long-term. We're talking 5, 10, 15 years down the road. In that case, what you're asking yourself is, and let's just go ahead and take this chart. This is going all the way back here to the mid-70s. So we're up here at record numbers, climbing, getting right up to that record, 50-ish dollars an ounce, all-time records for silver. What we can very logically expect will happen is that silver will drop off again. We will reach some peak, silver will drop off again, and then climb back up. And if you look at the intervals of these peaks, we have 2011, and we're going to peak out here sometime in 2026. So that's 15 years. So if you buy silver now, if your long-term threshold is, say, 10 to 15 years, you might be okay. Either that, or you're taking a gamble on the near-term premiums for making some money on your silver. And the same kind of thing is going to be true for gold. So I'm not telling you don't buy gold. I'm saying make sure you understand why you're doing it, and make sure that you're not just buying that gold or silver because right now you see the prices going up and you want to be a part of that. That same thing happens in the stock market, where people see the stock market climbing and they want to be a part of it, so they pay too much for a stock or an index fund or something to get into it because they see the prices going up, only to see the prices then drop off. So I would urge you to please think through that one. Now, I have to make sure that I throw in the caveat that I'm not a certified investor. I'm not licensed to provide financial advice to people. I share with you the things that I look at for my investment decisions, and I analyze what's going on in the metals markets to discuss what it means to us in the scrap world. So I would urge you to be very, very careful as you consider buying gold or silver right now. And I know it's a very hard decision because the other hard decision is for those of us that have gold and silver, do we sell? And at what price do we sell? I generally sell some portion of my silver stack when we get, when we're here right now. So again, let me bring up the full run of data here back to the 70s. So I was buying silver. I built up a stack, and when silver got up here, I was fortunate enough to be paying attention, and I was able to sell half my stack at $50 an ounce, and that allowed me to make the other half of the stack essentially free. I waited for the prices to drop down again. Once they got down into the mid 20s, I started buying. I was buying through this dip here. As they climbed up out of the mid 20s into the 30s, I stopped adding to my stack. And, I went into okay, now we're waiting to look for a high 40s, 50 to sell again. So we're in that range for me to sell part of my stack. It's the model that I use to manage my precious metals portfolio. I'm not saying it's the right model or it's the best model. I'm saying have a model, have a plan, so that you're not just reacting to prices going up and then you buy a bunch of stuff and lose money on it. Have a plan for what you want to do and then stick to that plan. That's the only thing that I'm suggesting here. It's right now. I mean, for me, this definitely sell territory. So, okay, let's see what kind of comments that generated, because I gotta believe that there's that may have generated some interesting thoughts here as we. Let's see here. I'm going back to where we were with that comment. Ed Weber, Paul Fisher. I think I said hello. I believe I said hello as you came in. Oh yeah, I did. Now I see where we're at. Cruiser Mac, join us. Cruiser, great to have you here, man. Very cool. Yeah, Cruiser was looking at some gold last year. And that's the thing. It's like, there's a common phrase about gold, silver, even houses. It's like, when's the best time to buy your gold? Well, 5 years ago, or something like that. There's always that, I should have bought it back when kind of thing. And some more unscrupulous dealers, they try to take advantage of that mindset, that FOMO mindset, fear of missing out mindset, and they'll say to you, "Oh yeah, gold's going to keep going up, silver's going to keep going up." When historically, we don't have that argument. Historically, we see that both gold and silver have had peaks, then they drop back down again, then they climb back up again. So I really want to throw in a bunch of healthy caution in any consideration of buying right now. It's the only that's the thing I'm trying to say here. All right. So Patrick Williams has joined us. We're talking about kerosene cucumber. That's funny. Well, that is just hilarious. I mean, I love the name. Uh, Davison's All Natural. Jim, great to have you here. Um, you're going to have to sell some of that silver just to buy some of my beef here real soon. Yeah, yeah, no kidding. Oh man, and boy, howdy, do I love a good steak. I love being an omnivore. I'm kind of more partial to the carnivore side of being an omnivore. Uh, Paul wants me to bring up the gold chart. Well, sure, why not? We can do that. I wasn't planning on doing it, but we can do it. It's easy enough to do. Here's gold, and we can see that gold continued to climb as well. Let's go for 1 week. So gold climbed from last week to where we are here. Gold followed a similar pattern to what we saw in silver. Climbed up, we dropped, we climbed up. This bowl is kind of a, you know, some gyrations, but fall down, climb up again. We keep on bouncing off. Gold keeps on bouncing off of this resistance level here, just below 3,900. So we'll see if gold busts through that. Let's see, what are they claiming for a forecast on gold? And they're showing this similar kind of rise. At least the slope of that rise is similar to silver. It's not real steep. It's not going down, but it's a nice gradual rise. And they're saying that gold is going to get up here over 4,000. So 4,111 ish, 4,012, sometime in the next 12 months. So again, that's the kind of thing you want to be really careful of if you're going to buy into gold right now is can you, if you buy it here, plus some premium, which is, going to push it up to here, can you make back that amount? And that's always something to be really careful of. Let's go ahead and we looked at silver in the long term. Let's go ahead and look at gold overall. We didn't have those sudden spikes in gold that we had in silver, but we still had a little bit of spiking here. Then it drops off. We have another little spiking here. Then it drops off, another plateauish here. And now we've had this, on this scale, what looks like a near vertical climb for gold. So, yeah, there's a lot of people who are trying to figure out right now if gold is going to ever drop back down into these levels again, or is it going to settle out at some new high in here? And that's just not a game that I am either qualified or willing to play right now. It's that's going to be a really tough one. All righty, let's see. We do that. All right, so Paul, we brought up the gold chart. Hopefully that helped to answer whatever questions you had there. Yeah, Paul's trying to be really careful there, so I don't blame you, man. It's a hard decision to make right now. It really is. It's a tough one. I'm not going to buy any gold right now. I'm not. I might sell some silver, but I am not buying any gold right now. So that's just my plan. Yeah, that Rolex is that might buy you a cup of tea or something later on. I don't know, but with all the gold on that Rolex. Let's see. Yeah, Davidson's All Natural Gem is having some fun with the when was the best time to do something? Yep, best time to plant that fruit tree was 3 years ago. It's so frustrating. I'm not much of a gardener. I love to dabble in it. And when I was living down in Florida, I had a niece who was down in the Keys, and she had a key lime tree in her yard, and she brought me a bunch of key limes. So I took the seeds, I planted the seeds. I had 24 seedlings. After a couple years, I had 5 seedlings. I eventually ended up with one seedling that was just about ready to bear fruit. And then we had a massive freeze come in and it killed it. So it was very, very frustrating to go through almost 6 years of nurturing that key lime tree to for it to just get killed before it ever got a chance to have fruit. Uh, let's see. I'm looking through for some more comments here before we dive into our safety discussion. Raffle Scrapper's in the house. Raffle, great to have you here. Awesome to have you join us, buddy. Da, da, da. TJ's in the house. Welcome, TJ's. Great to have you here. He bought some last year, or she bought some last year, and it is going great. So good for you. That is sweet. Very cool. All righty. Well, our safety discussion this week is brought to us by our friend E-Waste Mike. In the video that he put up today, he had a traffic cone, and he even joked a little bit about, the shark scrapper safety cone, or that I would like the safety cone. That combined with a couple of things that I experienced during the week uh, gave me reason to uh, decide that the safety topic should be when we're stopped on the side of the road. Now, this could be there's kind of a couple of issues that you're right. You have the one kind of thing where you have a mechanical problem, a flat tire, something of that nature, where you need to pull over and get off the road. Your other situation is when the police pull you over because you were driving too fast or whatever that reason might be. I'm not going to go into a discussion of the things you should do for a police traffic stop because that's a very different beast altogether. So we're not going to talk about that, but we are going to talk about the situation where you have a flat tire, you have a mechanical problem of some sort, and you need to pull off of the road. Of course, you do it safely, right? Assuming that you're not in a situation where you've lost control of your vehicle. So assuming that you can still steer your vehicle safely, you put on the blinkers, you gradually take yourself over to the side of the road. You want to try to get as far out of the traffic lane as you can. But of course, a lot of that's going to depend on the type of road that you're on. You may have a large enough shoulder that you can pull far over and not risk your your vehicle or your safety. You may have a steep slope on one side. You may have a guardrail on one side. So you pull over as far as you safely can so that you're out of the traffic lane. Your next step is to get your situational awareness. Don't just throw that door open right away. Okay. You've stopped your vehicle. Make sure you put it in park. Make sure you put on your parking brake. Some people call it an emergency brake. Check your mirrors and see if there's anyone coming up behind you or too close to you before you open that door. Because, if you're in any kind of traffic lane, especially if you're on something like a highway, you got to be really careful before you swing that door open. When it is safe, then you get out of the car. And the first thing that you want to do before you even check what's wrong with your vehicle is to put out some sort of warnings so that drivers coming up behind you know that you're there. Now, this is going to be especially important if you're on a blind curve, if you're still partially in the lane of traffic. And the common thing that people will have in their trunk or in the back of their car are going to be road flares. So you would go back 20 feet, step 20 feet back from your car, put your first flare down, then create an angle, a gradual angle with multiple flares or cones so that as cars come around, they can see the cones and they can move over into the left-hand lane, I guess the right-hand lane if you're in Europe, so that they don't run into you, or England, so that they don't run into you. Now, if you are going to use road flares, make sure that you're not creating a fire hazard. Make sure that you don't have fuel on the ground, those kind of things before you light up the flare. There's also, we have a lot of great safety creations these days that are really cool. There's LED flashing lights, LED flares. So there's a lot of things that are available now, so you don't have to use the typical road flare. If you do have road flares in your vehicle and they've been in there for a long time, you might want to check and make sure that they haven't started sweating and cause that they might be not good anymore. But always make sure you have at least 3 hazard warning signs, whether it's flares, LED lights, cones, the little reflector things that you can put up, so that you're warning other cars behind you. Once you get all those things put in place, then you can proceed to do the things you need to do. Fix your flat tire, call AAA, call a tow truck. You might want to even let the police know that you're stopped on the side of the road, especially if you're in the lane of traffic, because they might send out a patrol car, or in some states here in the United States, we have the safety vehicles that will respond to assist you. And whether or not you have to pay for them all depends on the state, county, and those kind of things. But sometimes the roadside assistance is at no charge to you because the state or the county is just trying to keep citizens safe. They're trying to keep traffic lanes open, avoid other accidents. So sometimes they have available roadside assistance that can come out and create a safe situation, take care of you enough to get you off of that road and back someplace where you can be serviced. One of the questions that you'll wrestle with is, should I sit in my car or not? Now, that's going to be a situational kind of thing. I was in a relatively bad accident during an ice storm, and the question that I was faced with was, all right, it's well below freezing. I have no idea how long it's going to take before a tow truck or the police respond. And do I want to be out in the elements, or should I just get in my car and recognize that I might get hit again while I'm sitting in my car? So it's a very situationally dependent thing that you're going to need to assess what is the greater risk. And it's going to be just dependent on, are you well out of the lane of traffic? What's the weather like? What's the damage to your vehicle? Those kind of considerations. There's no one-size-fits-all answer to whether or not you should do that. If you are assisting someone, so your friend calls and says, or your wife calls, or whatever, somebody calls and says, "Yeah, I got a flat tire. Can you come help me?" If you pull up behind them, make sure that you leave a pretty good space between you and the car in front of you. And you also want to, once you have pulled up and come to a stop, turn your wheel hard left here in the United States. Now, the reason for that is that if someone plows into the back of you, your car would get pushed away from the vehicle that you're trying to help, and you limit or reduce the potential of you getting smushed. Never stand between the cars unless you absolutely have to. If you, of course, are around to the front of their vehicle because, say, you're giving them a jump start or something like that, again, make sure that you have a certain amount of distance between the two of you. Don't stand between the vehicles and avoid being too close to the front or the gap between the vehicles as much as you can while you're trying to get the vehicle started again. Wear reflective or bright colored clothing if you can and if you haven't. Being stopped on the side of the road is risky. It is a high risk situation, and you don't want to be there any longer than you have to. So get your vehicle fixed, get a tow, do whatever you can to get to a safer location where you can deal with whatever it was that you had to deal with. All right, let's see what kind of comments and thoughts have you all come up with, and who else has joined us while we've been talking about it. Let's see. TJ says, "Don't break the law." I wish it was that easy, but hey, sometimes people look. You can you know you may not be paying attention and you get going too fast. I've been pulled over where I thought I did a complete stop at the stop sign. The police officer didn't. It's like those kind of things happen. So yeah, it's I'd like to say it's easy, don't break the law. eh, Sometimes it still happens, right? Richard, thanks to you about a safety net cover. Have you used it? Oh, very cool. That's good, Richard. I'm glad you did that, man. Those things are, they're very useful and they're great to have. Andrew Powell's in the house. Andrew, I wish you all the best with what's coming up. I don't want to talk about your private information, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm thinking about you, man. And make sure you let me know, when you're back and when things happen and when you're back again. Uh, yeah, Richard, as long as you're not drinking and driving, you don't have to worry about that part. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Looking for some more vehicle. Yeah, 20 feet, about 7 meters. Yep, exactly. Uh, Raffle says he had emergency triangle reflector sign in every vehicle. Yep, exactly. It's a good thing to have. And they have the triangles that break down now so they don't take up a whole lot of space. So they're very, very good to have. Uh, Yeah, 10 paces. 10 paces is going to be around 20 feet for most people. So yeah, absolutely, man. Um, let's see. Yeah, we're talking about some of the differences between how far back and what you're supposed to use. Earl's saying that wife with a flashlight also works. Yeah. Uh, Oh man, some of the feedback. Some of the feedback. Ay, ay, ay. Uh, ba, 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 ba. Let's see. Richard's saying, have never ridden dirty, I take it. Well, I'm not quite sure where you're going with that, Richard. I mean, no, I never called the police on myself for sure. Um, I mean, I was pretty young when I realized the dangers of drinking and driving, and so I just didn't do it. I mean, we would have a duty driver, and we would be careful with those kind of things. So, yeah, but I'm not sure where you're going with the comment there. So, um, Let's see. New insurance is saving a ton of money. Roadside assistance is sponsored by the insurance company. Yeah, there's a lot of roadside assistance that you can get with through your insurance company. So it's very, very useful, Jill. And welcome to the show, Jill. Great to have you here. La, 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 la. And, uh, Okay, well, I think we've had a good discussion of safety. So, the thing that I would ask everyone to do is sometime this week, go check your safety kit in your vehicle. Make sure that your flares are still good. If you have flares, if you don't have flares, what sort of reflective equipment do you have? And just know where it is so that you're ready to use it if you need it. Righty then. Our industrial metal today, as promised. Wait a minute. Let me get over to our industrial metal for today. There we are. So, our industrial metal for today is aluminum, aluminium, as many of my friends from around the world like to say. Um, I'm I will respond to both. So aluminum, we're looking at 2711.3. That's US dollars per ton. Um, yeah, well, what kind of discussion do we have going on here? Aluminum futures, we're at 2,700 per ton, holding the rally that tested the 3-year high of 2715 back on September 16th. Chinese industry information slash their annual output growth numbers. We've also had some curbs on production that have played into this. Getting alumina lost all of its mining licenses as after the military-led government took over. So we've got that hit to the supply side. Meanwhile, aluminum keeps on being consumed, and let's see, quick demand for physical aluminum lifted withdrawal requests in the global warehouses. So primary aluminum stocks dropped 55,000 tons to 413,000, although the levels rebounded from monthly lows. So it's kind of like, a bunch of stuff got pulled out of the stocks, but then they kind of rebuilt again. This is the 1-year look at aluminum. And we can see there's been a lot of gyrations going on here with the aluminum. We had a huge drop March going into early April associated with the tariff announcements from the United States. It's been climbing back up again as industries and such digested all of that and got back into uh, the movement of goods again. Let's see what the forecast looks like for aluminum. Well, that's not too bad. Nice gradual slope in the upward direction. It's not huge, steep up. It's not down. So those are all good signs for us in the um, scrapping world, because what it really says is sell your aluminum scrap. Yeah, and of course, I need to emphasize this. These are the future prices for industrial grade aluminum. Our scrap yards are going to be paying much lower prices for the different grades of the aluminum, and it all depends on your scrap yard how they break it out. My scrap yard is paying one price for aluminum, whether it's sheet or cast or MLC, doesn't matter. It's just one price for aluminum, it all goes into the same bin, which is also kind of strange. And then there's, of course, a different price for aluminum cans and a different price for dirty aluminum. And for the new scrappers that are out there, dirty aluminum simply means that it has ferrous stuff stuck in it, right? So screws, nuts, those kind of things. So you don't have to put your aluminum in the dishwasher and get it all pretty before you take it in to sell it, but do make sure there's no ferrous material stuck to it. So you need to know what your yards are doing. But bottom line is sell your aluminum scrap. Whatever quantity you like to accumulate before you take it in. Uh, a full bin, a full truck, a full van load. Just keep doing that because it's a good cash flow metal. It's going to help you to keep things moving. Good solid pricing right now, and this nice gradual increase is good because it means that you should feel comfortable that what you're getting paid now is going to be consistent or better over the course of the next year for your aluminum scrap. So just keep moving your aluminum scrap. Just keep selling it. There's no real reason to try to hang on to it, anticipating some steep surge in pricing. There's no reason to panic that it's going to lose value. So yeah, just keep it moving is the best advice that I can give you based on what we're looking at here for the forecast for aluminum. And even in this world of that I'm in right now, where I'm focused on electronic scrap only, I still get a surprising amount of aluminum in the form of aluminum heat sinks, which is real nice. And then of course some computers, the shells and stuff are aluminum. Especially I like those Apple products for the aluminum. So I mean, even now that I'm not doing heavy scrap, I still get a pretty good amount of aluminum. Now, there is another way to treat your aluminum if you're into the melting and casting world. You could try to melt your aluminum and sell it on eBay, Marketplace, other places like that. The thing to remember when you do that, though, is some people want to know what kind of aluminum they're buying. So there are people who will pay more for the aluminum that comes out of the insulated aluminum wire because that aluminum is a good quality aluminum. Some people will pay more for aluminum heat sinks because they know what kind of aluminum that is. If you melt your aluminum into a brick, then folks aren't going to know what grade aluminum they're buying. And depending on what they want to use it for, they may not be willing to pay it as much. Now, that's just for those kind of buyers are relatively sophisticated. They have a project in mind. They're artists that want to do a certain thing with it, whatever the thing is, but they know that there's a certain grade of aluminum that they want to use. You might still do fine to melt your aluminum, maybe cast it into skulls or whatever kind of shapes and sizes and try to sell those as works of art. That's a whole different world than our scrap world where we're just selling the scrap aluminum. So let's see, what have we had to talk about with aluminum? And let's do, oops. I always forget that I got to push that before I can push that and then do that. So let's see. There is a bunch of discussion on copper. We talked about copper last week. We'll talk about copper again next week. But right now we're kind of focused on aluminum. Let's see. I think so. We got some price reports coming in here. That's cool. Oh, riding dirty means doing anything illegal. Well, I mean, no, I don't call the cops up and tell them I'm speeding. Um, yeah, no, that would be kind of silly. Um, all right, anyway. No, 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 no. Rich Patrick Williams is saying $1.10 a kilo for aluminum in copper. Geez. $1.10 a kilo in Ireland, and I'm assuming it's for aluminum. I don't know what grade aluminum, Patrick, but I assume that's aluminum, dirty aluminum, 28 cents. Okay. Uh, Andy's saying they call that irony aluminum. Yep, yep. Um, David Fillet's in the house. Welcome, David. Great to have you here. Earl's saying that all three of his area yards does the same thing with aluminum. They're buying it all at the same price. Yeah, I had a yard in Florida when I was down in Florida that was very sophisticated, had multiple levels, different pricing for aluminum. But locally here, up in the western mountains of Western North Carolina, no, it's just one price, aluminum. Oh man, Robert, welcome, Robert. It is great to have you on board. Welcome to the show. Uh, let's see. And yeah, Robert, we're not talking copper this week, but again, we will discuss it next week, I assure you. Grandpa Kevin, welcome, Kevin. It's great to have you here. And Patrick confirmed that was for aluminum. Gotcha, Patrick. Thank you. And Mr. Matthews, I believe I said hello, but if I failed to, hello. Now, some of you may have wondered why in the world I had I was put this next one in here for today, and I couldn't resist. Why couldn't I resist? Well, because I'm a retired Navy guy and I love coffee. And I was just when I was doing the research for the week and stuff, I couldn't help but take a look at what was going on with coffee. And I think a lot of us out there, we maybe you just have the one cup in the morning. I might as well have an IV bottle strapped to me, dragging around coffee. I just enjoy coffee as I take a sip of my coffee. So I was looking at the coffee market. So here we are. We're at 1 year look at coffee, and we've had some interesting gyrations going on with coffee. A little dip early in the year, we climb out. We have another little dip. We we have this huge spike, and then we kind of go through a pretty jagged series of ups and downs. But overall, we're dropped back down again before we climb back up. This market is like all over the place. I mean, I can only imagine. There must be some goods and bads when you're a futures trader in a market like this, because if you understand what's going on and you know that you're going to be able to get to some point, then yeah, you can make some money as it goes up. But because traders have what's called puts and calls, good professional traders can make money whether the market's going up or down, and these people will play these games with things like coffee, and I don't, because I'm not a day trader. I'm a boring buy and hold investor, and I am not going to put the time into uh, every day paying attention to prices, sometimes hourly price changes, trying to make that money. So for me, that's not the way I do my investments. But this is not about investing. This is about what's going on in the coffee market. Let's go take a look at coffee going all the way back to the mid 70s and look at the gyrations. Look at how much coffee goes up and down and up and down. I mean, there's just so many wild swings in coffee prices. And it makes you wonder, how can, places like your local coffee shop or Starbucks or any of those places, how do they stay in business with these kind of wild swings in prices? So before now, we can see that coffee used to meet a pretty hard resistance level here at at this. This is U.S. dollars per pound. Three something is off there with those numbers because it's saying 388. Maybe that's in hundreds. Um, so we had this resistance level, but then we just busted through this big time recently, um, and we're way over. So we're up at 380 a pound right now, and that's near the highest level since mid-September. And if you look at this chart, you can see we're in record high territory for coffee. So, and if we let's, I'm just curious here. I want to see how much coffee has been swinging, the price swings here. So each one of these candlesticks represents a month. And we can see that coffee had been on a slow climb. And then look at how much it dropped from over 4. And then it drops in 1, 2, 3 months. It drops down to under 3. And then in 1 month, coffee climbed from under $3 to almost 4. I mean, that's just so much variability in the coffee market. I mean, that's just, to me, it's just amazing to see that kind of movement. But because I'm an avid coffee drinker, I want to know, kind of what's going on here. So let's see, what can we expect to happen? Well, it's going to keep going up. According to the folks at Trading Economics, coffee is just going to keep climbing. And, that's, boy, that's painful when I think about how much coffee I go through on a regular basis. So I don't know, maybe we should start investing in coffee. You know, I mean, there's a lot of uses for coffee grinds, but it's not like you can scrap the coffee grinds and sell them to somebody. Yeah, that's a tough one. Ouch, ouch, and ouch, man. I don't know. Uh, it's just going to be painful. Um, but hey, I guess we're going to end up just paying what we pay for coffee. What are you all thinking about coffee here? Let's see. Let me get this off the screen. Go over here. Um, uh, let's see. What are we talking? One Earl is saying 1.5 years ago, Folgers at Costco was $13 for a large bucket. Uh, JR Cat was saying Maxwell was 16 a can at Dollar General. Hey, did you all see the story where Maxwell House was changing their name to Maxwell Apartment? I I had to read the story a few times just to make sure that it wasn't a joke. But apparently, Maxwell House is they're looking at how expensive coffee is and how expensive houses are, and so they're going to do some rebranding on it. I suppose you'll still see both names, but I thought that was just hilarious that coffee is getting so expensive that Maxwell House is now going to start calling themselves Maxwell Apartment. That was just really weird story. So and now it's at $20. So let's see, you were paying 13 and now you're paying 20. Yeah, that makes it really expensive, doesn't it? Patrick Williams saying €15 for a large jar. Grandpa Kevin is saying 1 cup per day for me. Okay, I think we're back. Um, Something weird happened with with our signal, so but I think we're back up now. Uh, Mike saying coffee grounds are good in the garden, so make sure that you're at least putting them in your garden when you're done with them. Um, J.R. Cat says his mother-in-law double boils their coffee. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, Mike, I did freeze for a little bit there. I'm not sure what that was all about, but we're back at it here. So, but that's okay because it is time for us to head across the pond anyway. So no big deal. If you have autoplay enabled, you will be redirected over to Scrapping Irish's live stream. If you don't have autoplay enabled, then please, when I end this stream, go to YouTube, type in Scrapping Irish, look for the live stream link, and head on over there and join us across the pond. It's always a lot of fun. You never know which way the discussion is going to go. Sometimes we have follow ons from this discussion. Most times there's brand new topics coming up. So it's always a blast hanging out with Scrapping Irish and our friends over across the pond. I look forward to seeing you all over there. And in the meantime, have a very safe week. Make sure that you check your roadside warning signs and your emergency kit in your vehicles and keep scrapping and be safe.